Deja cerrar. 반응이다.
Good evening or good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's gotten chilly here. Looks like it's chilly where many of you are too.
Okay, so now you can hear the opening books.
All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Bhadradara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of teaching, and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom.
也当经过
过
了节。
节。
老
老
早
早
能
能
来
来
就
就是
节，
我
我上
上
节就
节就
年
年
的
的
能
能来
来就节，我当别就能来就节，我告别跟的能来就节，我感到这种送没做一些简单的吧，那么就是节我。
Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
长久宁波姐姐我上街能来叫声姐，就当长久生白夜，走来的见叫声姐，姐的我姐对谁姐，长久头内姐巴当。长久生悲老巴拉，得来人品涅巴达。着了变动对，长久生累姐姐心，提前的那老巴来，人百姓的老巴结我。
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
我上街就当左街就能了，长久把的到内就是钱，大给钱所见别所能见，着了并且上街就把手。
May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
我莫能个在两边生前同结，得我来地位就当等待就结，当东儿结就当这我就结。东儿没别的我东门的我就见，你的家当你当这当牛了你我就见。
Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror together with your disciples, please come here to this place.
本座萨满座，本座萨满座，本座萨满座，马路三界根界公交界，多的邦界没在就在啦，我那马路几眼见就别。Yom den kore je nendere yeso so argan rin bu be du be a lo ge ge de ni ve de xiao da ba di za su fa.
The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the four continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate.
Oi so je bu je jo je me do zhang a re ra ling je nian de jian ba de song je xian la mei de bu wa yin an zhuo ge nan dai xian de jiu ba yi shuo jiang zi wo dan zhu jian yao ba dong ji se yan rong gun xian so wa ye ge wa jiong se da ge jie zao ba
Damje
左边长洲见宝母。
Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the three realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the five wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shaki king. At the time of your birth, leader of two-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise, even then, I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain, the one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one, such as you, among the 3 levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Shravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause, free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the 3 higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha I also prostrate.
So we keep going in the English, so maybe not much terms. 7 appears.
So go ahead and, yeah. I prostrate to the youthful Manjushri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom, there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmadhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest claws, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyekya Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. So 16.
No Tibet, so I think page 16 or because the teachings.
Please turn the wheel of the Dharma, of the 2 vehicles and their combination, according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Samje Namje Samba Dong Loye Jeda Jeda Wa Ache Jung De Mo De Ba Ye Joje Holo Godo Zo Tamge Dongje Shaje Song Zhong Shen Je Me Da Du Je Bong Jong Ba Sher Je Long Ba Da Hu Le Ji Wei Ge Xiao Jie Jie Bei Xiao La Ge Jiang Zi Zhe Me Wo Zhe Do Jie Jing Gu Le De Ma De Xie Jing Wo Jie Da Wa Tum Ji Se Gua Kyun Chen Xue Xie Jie nhân民主人间各强子，我们就见人间不同的，都上街跟见我，让他们交给我怎么当这边，这边那没收了个强子，看到就这东边就在那，这个东边就我讲。天地东边就见家人别把什么人都我他们见的也先那么呀，他也给到那东的几个冲到他们也给他们呢，如果跟着这给接总把他们这给的都给出的都。Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good
Tene
morning.
ta nga zo tsangma tene ta karse gore chik chu nyamlen chi ya ke kokabi huwa te tene bemesi wike za chenpo re tene chik ta tiga na yi ke chu koka yuwa jigu ma yinba chik rang su su ngu nimbi na yang chik chu nyamlen chi ya ke ondo ba yuwa wada tene jik tang tiga na yi ke ku chu nyamlen chi ni 다 펭귄요와의 참여이기 때문에 하코레스 테베오레스 지시나요스 자 요만다뉴
So, first taking a moment to reflect a little bit on our own situation, the fact that all of you, who are here, who are joining us, all of us, we have this opportunity or leisure to be able to engage in Dharma practice. And this is so amazing, really, and very precious. And not only that, not only do we have the opportunity, but we have the interest. So the fact that there's the interest, there's the inclination there. This is also very, very precious. And it's great to recognize that and to feel a sense of rejoicing in your own good merit and fortune.
데인데 다 나저 단디 값 사바텔라 데네 다 마타바 차디오리 데네 다 마타바데 가정 휴트 티사로 와르 비니베 티사로 와 요메베 오케이 데네 다 가저 타마데 차디오리 스테인데
Mhm. So we are on this section of impermanence of the four thoughts that turn the mind. So having the second of these reflections is the reflection on impermanence, and we've been through each week each of the different sections of reflection, and now we're on the final section, which is the benefits, contemplating or reflecting upon the benefits of understanding impermanence.
that that's all according to the angazada dharma gedi hinungre da jigna so nyamlen chia ke one tichi da titola jig di sindewa ro chi indu da te samada tsawre ist wa ati ma te ayo maris.
And so we have, been following these kind of the structure for these reflections based on what's referred to in Tibetan as the Dharmakirti Shalom, or the words or the oral instructions of Drikung Dharmakirti, Rigzin Chugi Drakpa. And so following that structure, then Drupon Rinpoche is also given some of his own reflections or explanations to kind of serve as a guideline for us in our reflections on impermanence. And now, we've been through the teachings, for each of those different sections.
Da tanda ti pecha tanda tang
Yeah, so we sent a reflection where we sent the section on the benefits of reflecting on impermanence today. So Zoldi, do you have those? Do you want to screen share them? Otherwise, I can also screen share them. He's got. Great, thank you.
다 디인데 디니 다 조우 탄다디 다디 믹스게 탄다다 디 티샤 요레스 디니다 디 토라 다 리히스히라 자마고 마 로샤레스.
So, in addition, and these are kind of, some of the basic benefits. And then there's also probably further benefits that we can also kind of reflect upon or come to an understanding on in our own practice too. But so we don't have to explain too much about this. We can just read through
Already
it.
there, right?
It's already there. And maybe we can have different
Much
people.
more can you can read.
Oh,
다 힘받은 거 정말로 저기 로고 저기로.
okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and read through this. He said I can read through this, just the whole page. So the benefits of understanding impermanence. Understanding the truth of impermanence not only brings profound benefit to our Dharma practice, but there can also be great benefit in a worldly sense, and it can positively affect our quality of life overall. We become much more capable of weathering the ups and downs that inevitably occur in life and are able.
Once again, so yeah, if he originally read and you guys listening and also if you have some or questions, comments, so that's
Do you want to stop for questions and comments between
not
the
just
eight?
read,
Okay.
people there are cool.
Okay. We become much more capable of weathering the ups and downs that inevitably occur in life and are able to accept difficulties with less suffering. We do not become too swept up and prideful when things are going well, knowing that our positive experiences and good fortune are also impermanent. If our business goes south and we lose all our money, or if we fail to pass a final exam in school, it is not so devastating if we have an understanding of impermanence. We can accept difficulties and hardships without being too overwhelmed by them. We become more capable of enduring challenging circumstances such as illness and loss with grace and ease. When we don't understand impermanence, we can feel we have been wronged somehow if we get sick or some great misfortune befalls us, thinking, why me? Or it is so unfair. In general, when seriously ill or facing imminent death, there can be tremendous resistance and denial. We can become completely preoccupied with our own suffering, focusing only on ourselves, and can be completely oblivious to the signs of impermanence all around us, all the other people who are sick and dying, and the tremendous pain and suffering in the world. When we have a sense of impermanence, the mind becomes more vast and spacious. It brings greater acceptance, and we don't feel so alone. We are able to remember others who are also suffering and feel compassion for them. We can hold our suffering in a way that is directed to aspirations for the end of suffering for all beings, instead of only being focused on our own pain. When we get sick or experience a painful loss, we feel prepared. It feels like meeting an old friend. We recognize it for what it is, the truth of impermanence showing itself, and we can accept it with greater ease. When impermanence is truly and deeply understood, we can handle anything with a sense of equanimity. Whatever arises, we can take it on with a joyful and courageous attitude. Just as the prayer from Jigten Sumgun says, if I get sick, let me get sick, I'll be happy. If I die, let me die, I'll be happy. When we are happy, the mind is clear and bright. As we witness impermanence on many levels, we are able to confront the truth of reality and accept it with full awareness. When relationships fall apart, we experience a painful breakup, someone we love dies, or any of the countless hardships and forms of loss that can occur in life befall us. If we understand impermanence, it lessens the blow, and we're able to move on more quickly. It also helps us to value our relationships more while we have them, to treat one another with kindness, and not to take the people we love in our lives for granted, knowing that our time together is limited. Without understanding impermanence, we easily fall into habits of complacency and can end up wasting a lot of time, especially with all the distractions of modern life. There are so many different devices and forms of entertainment pulling on our attention at all times. We can waste a tremendous amount of time seduced by all the allure of meaningless diversions, never thinking about our approaching death or the preciousness of each moment we are losing. On the other hand, if impermanence is always in our mind, we will feel strongly motivated and inspired toward Dharma. Understanding of impermanence Understanding of impermanence can become the force that enables us to access our fullest potential in practice. Otherwise, we may have momentary bursts of inspiration and practice with diligence for a period of time, but without a deep understanding of impermanence, we can easily lose steam and become distracted again. With understanding of impermanence, however, this won't happen. We'll be able to sustain our inspiration and determination to practice. We will also naturally gain an understanding of the true nature of awareness and the clear light, empty essence of all phenomena. The way we relate to our thoughts and emotions changes as well. We understand them to be impermanent and therefore do not have so much grasping and fixation to them. Likewise, we have less grasping to appearances overall and are more easily able to recognize them as empty displays of awareness. In this way, we can see that time is very precious, and we have to be very careful not to let our precious time be lost in states of carelessness and distraction or meaningless endeavors. We should be careful not to waste even a fraction of a moment and try to always remain focused on what is truly meaningful in this life. Reflecting again and again on the benefits of impermanence, we can direct our thoughts, words, and deeds in the direction of authentic Dharma.
Okay, so this is so we have last session or last. So now is complete. I think finish. So do we have some questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question. Is Buddhahood or the supreme truth impermanent?
Sante Gopang, yang na dondam gitemba mitakbarewe.
다디 고 통탐배 통로그레스 디디 다조 가르스나가 단다지 메타와텔라 대용구도와 릴레이티브 레벨라 지 아주 제 메타와 임바탕 제네 양지 가르세고레 넘버 토포가 저 토포 토모로 텐디 잠도 토포자 잠잠테네 토포마 임바 차야디 고 릴레이티브 레벨로 진사리스 진디티네 다 통탐배 뭐라 테네 메타바 코랑거 하기 테네 대하고소나 테네 단다 코랑거 랍스 오토매트 또 차디오레스
Tini di yang taba mitaba gi nigala le deba yoro.
really
So actually the ultimate truth, or I forgot how you phrased it exactly, but the ultimate truth and Buddhahood is it transcends permanence and non-impermanence. So we have these distinctions between the relative truth and the ultimate truth. So everything on the level of the relative truth is of the very nature of impermanence. It's subject to transition, transformation, and change. Everything is changing at all times. The inner experience, our thoughts, our emotions are impermanent on a moment-to-moment basis. And likewise, all of the outer phenomena, the appearances, our experiences of, one day somebody is our friend, the next day, they're no longer our friend. So there is this constant flux and change happening on the relative level. But on the ultimate level, there is this stability, this unchanging nature, and yet still, you can't exactly say, that it is permanent or impermanent. It transcends the duality of those two extremes.
Nature of the impermanent,
What's that?
nature of the impermanence, Koranke, Matapik, Rangi Koranga, Rangi, or reality of that.
So the essence of impermanence itself, the nature of impermanence, actually falls into the category of the ultimate truth.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean.
Could I just ask a follow-up question to that? It just got me thinking, like, if you attain Buddhahood, though, that would be a permanent, like you wouldn't become obscured again in that sense. Would that be considered permanent?
That's a good question.
Hago
yoro. Garci Sanjay Gopang Tovna, Di Nune Gurwa me Padrowa Pena Young Char Simjin Trua Yobachin Chagamarawa. Dini Dinda Samlo Tangni, Ding Gingone Samlo Tangni, Dini Mitabayo Marawa Tabare.
Re in the Tiantine, go Sanje Comasia, George Re Sanje, Taparawa. Ina ya Tapa was ordinary Taparo Chadio Mares.
Yes, so that's true. So for on the one hand, you could say that the state of Buddhahood is permanent, but it's not really permanent in the way that we think of it
Ordinary
from an ordinary concept of permanence.
Dinida caution me not to Tanda didn't go the margin into wings. Can this
Dini young did re di tesa lap chogra be pena di ngazodzerim dinda so get some like that. So also, if there aren't any questions, he said, we can sort of start from the beginning of the reflections again. So some of you might have noticed that at kind of last minute, I put in the WhatsApp group, and Donna will also send it out as an email later. I know a lot of people have been asking for guidelines for your personal retreat on impermanence. So finally we have that available, sort of a suggested structure if you want to follow when you do your personal retreat. And it involves, so as we've been reading each session that we've had here together has been a section or two that we've read through in the basic outline for impermanence. So now we have it all in one document. So I'll go ahead and screen share that. I think beginning here with the recitation. So if you remember, we did that the first weekend that we had together, we sang through. So you have an option here. You can either read them in English and chant them in Tibetan, or you can chant them in English.
Yeah. Okay. In that day go the Tama Lord Gorwa is gone to the on the Logores, the Gante.
Right, Dinda session redela. Yeah. So for each session and in the outline, I'll show you for retreat. If I can find. So with the session 1, so you have first is, if you would like the optional 9 rounds of breathing to expel the stale winds, if you're familiar with that. Then there's the full opening prayers. And then there's the recitations on page 1 of the impermanence reflections. So that's what this is. And so this is really the beginning. You do at the beginning of each session, you can chant through or read through all 3 of these verses on impermanence. So dini chichina bukela donna dini inchikela lona gandhi.
Page.
So also then we've divided, because this document is 12 pages or so. So it isn't in each session. So you'll see the first session, you can read through the impermanence of the outer world and the impermanence of the inner inhabitants. So those 2 sections, which are pages 2 to 4. In the second session, you can read through, then we get into the longest section is the impermanence of this life, because you have those 9 subcategories for the impermanence of this life. So then that's broken into sessions 2, 3, and part of 4. So in the first and the second session, you can read through the first 3 reflections on the impermanence of this life, which are pages 4 to 6. And then in session 3, you can read through the next 3 reflections on the impermanence of this life, pages 6 to 9. And then in session 4, the final 3 reflections on the impermanence of this life, together with the benefits of understanding impermanence. So that's the longest reflection, is in that session 4, page 9 to 14. And you can break it up also. Drupon Rinpoche and I were discussing, instead of giving you this time, when we had the guidelines for precious human life, there was 15 minutes or 10 minutes, I can't remember what it was, but we gave you suggested minutes for each reflection. But here you can really do it in a way that it feels most suited to your meditation. So you can read some, and then you can reflect, you can contemplate and meditate, and then read some more. And you can also go back to the beginning and do it again if it's helpful. So just at your own pace, and breaking it up in the way that feels the most supportive for you in your retreat. And you also don't necessarily have to follow this suggestion. If it works better for you to break it up in a different way, you're welcome to do that.
Very good. And then so now back to the original.
Okay, so maybe we'll read through in English, and then we can chant it in Tibetan to sort of get the melody. Oh, everything is impermanent, and melody yore but ngay apo drinking into bouquet go give it.
Alelo nyole mola azole dogo meye bar Zendie me dai dong ge jin dang dang Ando ve je je pa la dong dong zong
Zong.
Ando ve je ne nam ge long da de re za ma je so you can English.
Okay, do you want to do it with the melody in English? Okay, but she nganyam do chiku pere. Okay, so he wants us to do it with the melody in English, which is challenging. So that you can see what the melody version is below. Oh, all is impermanent and will die. Worldly affairs to are descended. The rainbow light gate worldly concerns. Oh, can put our trust in them or not. We won't stay long, and death is certain. So we must quickly attain freedom, like the shadow of the setting sun, impermanent, we will soon pass on. Cast aside complacent indifference and kindle love fire like diligence. This life is impermanent like autumn clouds. The birth and death of beings like watching a dance. The lives of beings flash like lightning in the sky, flowing by more quickly than a water.
So now, so maybe or you read or someone read and the number. So maybe reading.
So read through the whole thing or just the numbers?
Oh,
Okay, I'll read through
only-
the numbers. Yeah, so first, so this reflection of impermanence, there's 4 categories. So first, the impermanence of the outer world. 2, the impermanence of inner inhabitants. 3, the impermanence of this life. And 4, the benefits on meditating on impermanence.
Right. So first one. Right.
So then maybe somebody can read through the first one, the impermanence of the outer world. Sean, would you like to read that?
Sure. The whole thing?
Sure, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The outer world is the nature of impermanence. In our galaxy, every moment stars are being destroyed and new stars are being born. The earth seems so solid and everlasting to us, we take it for granted and think of it being the ever-present backdrop to reality, but the earth itself is displaying constant transformation and change. At one point, the entire earth was covered in water, and it is said that eventually, when this kalpa comes to a close, the earth would be destroyed in stages of fire, by fire, water, and wind, and all that will be left is empty space. There are the natural processes of impermanence, but in addition to that, we also currently witness man-made destruction on a rapid scale. Our planet, comprised by the four elements, is so beautiful with so many different ecosystems and a complex web of biodiversity. It used to be that the elements were in balance, but now they are quite drastically out of balance and things are changing very fast. Glaciers are melting, sea levels are rising, temperatures are getting hotter, and weather patterns are becoming more extreme. Throughout the course of each year, we witness impermanence reflected in the changing seasons with cycles of decay and renewal and countless subtle transitions that occur day to day. And even moment to moment in spring, we see flowers blooming only to shed their petals days later. Days start to lengthen until they peak in summer and then begin to shorten again. The summer rains come with ever-increasing humidity and heat and soon may transition into autumn. The leaves start to change their color, dry up, and fall. The air grows sharper and the sunlight takes on a crisp glow. With winter, there is more stillness, the trees are bare, sometimes there is ice and snow. Animals go into hibernation, birds migrate to warmer climates, and before long the signs of spring begin to show again. Each season flows into the next without clear boundaries, and the cycle of transformation and change continues on without pause. Impermanence is constantly displaying itself in the outer world at all times everywhere. Yet our habit is so strong to still grasp onto things as solid and unchanging. An important aspect of our practice is to remember to notice the signs of impermanence around us, to become sensitized to them, the changing positions of shadows throughout the day, clouds forming and dissipating in the sky, weather patterns shifting from hour to hour, a hot cup of coffee gradually cooling, fresh fruit ripening and eventually spoiling, steam rising and disappearing from hot food, the temporary nature of hunger and fullness, fatigue that comes and goes, moods and emotions that rise and fade, physical pain that eventually subsides, clothes wearing out over time, cars and appliances aging and breaking down, conversations beginning and ending, relationships evolving or drifting apart. Children growing up and changing, the passing of each moment of consciousness, the list could go on and on without end. As we experience this never-ending unfolding of transformation and change in the outer world, we can see that time is very precious and we have to be very careful not to let our precious time be lost in states of carelessness and distraction or meaningless endeavors. We should be careful not to waste even a fraction of a moment and try to always remain focused on what is truly meaningful life. Reflecting again and again on impermanence, we see in the outer world, and we can direct our thoughts, words, and deeds in the direction of authentic Dharma.
Thank you.
Thank you. That it depends at least karma chunda would 단한가서 공도 되네 마티나 지샤죠 당 대가는 이게다 제상 지 진노 진지 때문에 와서야들라 네 고베 다 장인데 같은 데네 요레스 되는데 딩몰라 지다지다 타바레 섬다 제상 레 at least karma chunda winare teleman komna digrowa oda tinijite kombo grace.
So what you can do in your session is you can break this up, like maybe paragraph by paragraph or as appropriate, or with the shorter paragraphs, maybe you can read two and and contemplate and meditate having read that for like maybe 10 minutes at a time. And in addition to everything that's mentioned here, you can also direct your mind to contemplating the ways in which you see the impermanence in the outer container, or given in the outer environment or the outer world, and contemplate that. So, because there are countless forms or manifestations of impermanence. So during this meditation, that's what we're directing our contemplation to, is really seeing, perceiving, and thinking about all of those different signs of impermanence.
다 대곰, 다 양조 그랬어.
가인스네 데 담보 세션 담보 de la niga yorwa 하고성에 데 양낭 주기 semchen.
우리 다 양조 그랬어. 다 양조로 그러와.
양차도 그래?
그래, 내가 저 로고 그러 사지요.
Oh, right. Okay, so we've done then this first, after we have gone through the meditation on this first one, which is the impermanence of the outer world, then we go back to
After 10 or more, 15 minutes or 10 minutes.
Ele mangwa go gerawa kain sene session chutu ni rawa. Chutu ni re. So nga di la gerawa kumso tenda de paragraph re la karma chure gom. So anyway, when you finish that section on the impermanence of the outer world, meditating maybe for 10 minutes at a time at different sections, and then you're going to go on to the impermanence of the inner inhabitants, and we come back to the recitations and we recite them again.
So for example, maybe that's today I can look first. Or maybe just you can read the first English, okay?
Chanting? Or just reading?
Maybe chanting is harder, right?
Okay, so we'll just read this time. Oh, everything is impermanent and subject to death. All our worldly affairs are ultimately superfluous. The 8 worldly concerns are like the colors of a rainbow. Oh, think about it. Can we really rely on them or not? Somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We won't remain long, and death is certain. Therefore, we must quickly achieve liberation. Like the shadow of the setting sun, we are impermanent and will have to pass on. Abandoning laziness and indifference, kindle fire-like diligence. This life is impermanent like autumn clouds. The birth and death of beings is like watching a dance. The lifespan of beings is like a lightning flash in the sky. It goes more quickly than the flow of a steep waterfall.
Okay, so now we next contemplation is here.
The impermanence of the inner inhabitants.
Okay, there's somebody
So is there anyone who would like to read, or does it work for me to just call on you? Is that fine? Or yeah. Okay, Alana, you want to read it? The impermanence of the inner inhabitants. Thanks.
We can easily see many examples of the impermanence of the beings who inhabit the outer world. All living beings, regardless of how grand and majestic they may be, elephants or whales who inhabit the seas, tigers and grizzly bears, they all succumb to the truth of impermanence and must experience the decline of aging and eventual death. Some species of animals, such as the Galapagos tortoise, may have relatively longer lifespans, but they too are bound by the truth of impermanence and eventually die. Smaller creatures, like many species of flies and insects, have very short lifespans and only live for a matter of weeks or days. We can witness creatures like caterpillars demonstrate a miraculous display of impermanence as they withdraw into cocoons and soon become beautiful butterflies for only a short time before they shed their wings again and die. Perhaps nowhere do we feel this truth of impermanence more keenly than in our relationships with the animals who share our homes and hearts. We watch our pets grow from playful puppies or kittens to dignified old age, becoming less and less active, growing more tired, eventually becoming ill, and then suddenly dying. Every time this happens, the shock of loss strikes deep, even though we've always known the day would come. We are reminded of their absence for some time as we grieve, the empty food bowl, the unused leash, the suddenly quiet morning routine. In this way, we can see that time is very precious, and we have to be very careful not to let our precious time be lost in states of carelessness, distraction, and meaningless endeavors. We should be careful not to waste even a fraction of a moment and try to always remain focused on what is truly meaningful in this life. Reflecting again and again on the impermanence of the inner inhabitants, we can direct our thoughts, words, and deeds in the direction of authentic Dharma.
Thank you.
Thank you. 다 틀려요. 다 karma 가서 공부하더니 공부です.
So same thing. We can break this up and then meditate, for however long, contemplating the impermanence of the inner inhabitants. Mhm.
So then finish, like for example, finish the 10 minutes and then back to again. That's I know only maybe to bed I can do that.
Okay, so now we'll just do it in.
가지정 매단제와라 주제된제 자야정준보도 주제정존제르모라
Oh, did it? Mhm. So did the impermanence. Okay, so from them, maybe Demelia, would you like to read from page 4? So the impermanence of this life, until until here.
No,
Did it? What do you mean, really? Okay. So I think I believe we're going from page 4 to, so you're basically reading the 3
No,
subcategories.
only one.
But session later then that's not here or 공소 차상 session 낭신지나 야그랭이잖아. Okay. All right. So go ahead and read, he said.
Okay. The impermanence of this life. In general, there are 9 contemplations focusing on the impermanence of this life, consisting of 3 categories with 3 contemplations each. A, we will definitely die. 1, since there is no one in the past who has not died, we will definitely die. 2, since our bodies are composite in nature, we will definitely die. 3, since life is exhausted moment by moment, we will definitely die. Since there is no one in the past who has not died, we will definitely die. As said by Ashtagosha, whether on the earth or in the higher realms, have you ever seen or heard about someone who was born but did not die? Do you have any doubt about this? Even the Buddha, who was fully enlightened with all the major and minor marks, still was subject to impermanence and has to experience death. Likewise, all the great masters of the past, powerful and realized yogis who had all sorts of miraculous powers and siddhis, those who have mastery over the channels, winds, and drops, who can live off of energy and the vitality of the elements without solid food, eventually they must also die. No matter how rich, no matter how beautiful, no matter how powerful, everyone will have to die. Not even the most skilled and famous of doctors can find a cure for death or a cause for everlasting life. There are no great scientists or geniuses of technology who can come up with some invention to overcome the inevitability of death. In this way, we can see that time is very precious, and we have to be very careful not to let our precarious time be lost in states of carelessness, distraction, or meaningless endeavors. We should be careful not to waste even a fraction of a moment and try to always remain focused on what is truly meaningful in this life. Reflecting again and again on the impermanence of the inner inhabitants, we can direct our thoughts, words, and deeds in the direction of authentic Dharma.
Thank
Since
you.
our, is that good?
Okay, so I guess he wants you to stop there.
Yeah, and
'Cause-
also the kinata ya samariman.
Sorry.
Anrang chego sare songdo number.
The kale kabodu gainsana de andang tweets are yorowa. Dini de young de
Yamen ABC.
ABC tweets are yorowa. So dini andang dila yorowa.
Anrang dilata anrang te tongola dila one,
Okay.
and then we can do this here.
Okay, so he wants some numbers. So I'm gonna end
Here,
up having to send another
this is-
file. I'll
But
do
that's
it as
later.
3.1,
But you
3.2, 3.
that is tonight. Kasi zoter na ta kalabu na nga nyamla chi tang labu yusro.
Mhm.
Ti ta ndela yang do ta nga so yang chang jan do bu mun do tu zu mun do. Tenen ndela ta do yang ja tan da ti ten karsa de chini meta dong ki di nang da te la
So-
pores.
Young char.
Uh,
Penadinda de nipa de malep neginguna.
really.
Okay, so also yeah, so I'm gonna have to make a couple of revisions to the materials because also with each in this third section, with each subcategory, he wants you to go back and again recite the recitations, the reflections that are at the beginning, which I didn't put originally on in the because I thought it would just be at the beginning of each of the main sections. So here it'll be after you read, since there's no one in the past who's not died, we will definitely die. And we read through that. Then you go back to the top and you read through the verses again, and then read the number 2.
Right, so then each one is yeah, depends. I said 10 minutes.
10 minutes like mangwa gogo yore ga internet de tun rere la chutsu ni erwa
10 minutes mo go samada.
go sare
Ya ti ar ke ko link chi.
Okay.
E mo do. Yorda.
All right. So
O ti ta ti is je tang chirang so de kandi chi da ko di si yoro ina nga so de ta dong jang cho ji sogin system de bo no. Well.
So that you can see basically like, at least you need to contemplate like 10 minutes each section. And you can kind of break it up, like especially depending on how long your sessions are and how you're organizing your time. You can reflect for more if you want, or you can read again. If you could go back and read again if you still have time, and reflect for 10 if you want to break it up in 10-minute sessions. So there's some flexibility there.
And also, do you have some questions so regarding the how to practice?
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, thanks, Alana. I didn't see that. Um, hmm. Do you want to read it, Alana? Because I'm not finding it.
It's in Spanish. It's
Oh, it's this one. Y el Maestro Jesucristo dice la escritura que resucitó la Biblia. So I think this says the Master Jesus Christ said that I don't understand that escritura que resucitó. Do you, Demelia?
I think what she's asking is, what about Christ that the Bible said that he came back, or resuscitated, came back to life, and then about impermanence. I think she's talking about.
Oh, okay. Sé que está muerto. So Yeshu yana chichina Yeshu yorwa. Dini kong shi yorwa. Dini shi tsarne gijila yangchar. Sumbo nangshin cha yorwa. Yangchar le yorwa kong mashiwa nangshin delok daw. Dini de chibote do. Pero dice que yeah. I mean, it's a little unclear as to whether this is also, as you said, Isaac, in connection with impermanence, because both would be a manifestation of impermanence, but
데네트와 다 고마서 이나야 된다 요레스와 지신도 총요레 맞었다 나자사 몸세야 된다 데로 페바로디 요레스.
So he said, yeah, he believes that was the case with Jesus, that he came back to life and was resurrected. And actually there's stories of that happening, to great masters also in the Tibetan tradition, or not necessarily great masters, but actually even ordinary people. It's called Daylok. It's actually a type of, sometimes people die and then they actually come back to life. Isn't that a siddha? The Drupto. Yeah, he says yes, he probably was a great siddha. Because if like somebody, the definition of a siddha is somebody who has control over their own mind, their own consciousness, and so they can have the power to they can. Oh, now I get it. I know what the question was. Sorry. Because of this about everyone must die, I think, because of this section about everybody must die. And so the question is, will Jesus die, but he came back to life? I think that was where it was. Maybe. What's the difference between Daylok and rainbow body? Okay, now we've gotten into another discussion. So the Daylok dang jalu kichapar.
단 데로세나 거 가르세나 양초양 아트 맞아 만마송 해 되네 디가나 이 셈보디 초래 온고요라 데로다 티 카리랍다.
So Daylog and rainbow body are completely different. So Daylog is somebody who like if they die for a period and they come back to life in that same body.
근데 jallu trouble 단 jallu trouble 강다지 땅을 저 풍부 이는 다 딜라 jallu trouble 가시 유사리 다 가시 되는 jallu trouble 되는 직탄다 거랑배 마시와라 되는 직고 루트바 안에 문 jallu trouble 야라고다 디가 나이 양아서 희네 수고양 거랑 참아 매와로 차니 jallu trouble 야다 되는 마시위 키 jallu trouble 다 희빈 jallu trouble 니 유사리스
So there also, when it comes to rainbow body, so actually there are a lot of different types of manifesting rainbow body. So for instance, and this involves like there's there's some people who attain rainbow body before death, where like the aggregates of the body are transformed into the nature of light, and basically the body just sort of dissolves. And then there's rainbow body that can happen after death.
Right.
And where like no remnant of the body is left behind, just the finger. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Virginia, can you hear us?
Yes.
Finally. So there's a question in the shrine hall.
Okay.
Just talk into its a microphone, just hold it 6 inches.
So the reflections on impermanence are very sobering for most of us. Because I think most of us are taught that, well, in the kind of regular terminology, hope and good cheer are the best face to put on. But many of us, maybe all of us in some ways, but certainly many people endure long periods of suffering almost without relent. So my question is, how do you combat falling into nihilistic thinking where there is no hope?
고성에 dene de pena nune chine mambo de rewa dan gadina apoyore sam goa ge yang karela go re lukso dawo yorwa kashi kongso dunga pe yunring bo dunga nyangi yorwa dene metapare de rangre samba de yang kongso ge dunga latene dene kongso yang pena yang rewa te sajana yabo yumare be yang rewa che tang gande che ko gare de kongso de pena chebe tala malhunya pena ugaya mando
This one thing selap gugruwa. Ina nga su juring agdo ndaw sam gyor ina ya ko juring bo te ya ko every moment jirwachi them do gyores.
So yeah, definitely when there's a kind of like ongoing sustained suffering, it can be very difficult, when this is happening over a long period of time. Like for instance, if somebody is suffering from a very difficult illness, that is enduring for a long time. But even within, like, we tend to think, oh, this suffering is like this one thing that is continuous. But when there's the awareness of impermanence is there, then we see that actually even within that, there's constant change, constant transformation and change. Like one moment there's like some relief, and then there's the pain returns, or there's still this constant flux of impermanence that's displaying itself in every moment.
Tiendita zo karsina nga zo tanda tiga na isi ya nga zo da ji yagbo chagire sambar jikda tini rewando yorwa tini te yagbo res karsina nga zo te zungdo chuo nam tamji jianxin dumbi ze la rab tini zili kun dumba di yuwi ina zo karsina semdi ki nyongji di ji dewa nyonggo na sem nyonggo yori dungi nyonggo na sem kan nyonggo yorwa Tiende ko semte bena lundo ji na di yogi na ya semte koran Thế xem cũng là chủ solo accepting the Uyona, then go doing it in your race.
And actually, it is important to have hope. It's important to have a positive outlook, to actually, to recognize how much power we have in our attitude of mind, because the one who experiences everything in the mind is the mind. So if we choose to direct the mind in a positive way, then the result of that is going to be happiness. So just as is said, all phenomena arises in dependence upon intention. And so, for instance, even if our body is sick, if our mind is at ease and we have kind of a happy disposition and a positive outlook, if we're able to like accept our suffering and difficulty with a positive attitude, then we won't fall into, as you said, a view of nihilism. But so it's important to brighten the mind, to encourage the mind to have a positive outlook and to have hope.
어다디인데 제가 나이 당가서디 추지 럽디야 조 갈세나 가서 듣고 요사래 갈세나 다 참상 가서 지 메타와 제도 지 가서 대송 거래 most important part career lavina 지다 추세야지다 니텐세야지 말면 가는 노스타디 가래 어다 항사세야지다 추세야 니어레스
So, there's the truth of impermanence, and all phenomena are the nature of impermanence. And also, in general, in regard to Dharma, we need to have this distinction between, like, there's the individual and then there's the Dharma.
다 날마지도 다 날마지도 가서 날망원에 날마티산마다 추지도 나면 알아와 호텔에 유직보라다 메타바리 직 메타바리 테니도 조치효데 랑게 feeling 지 요러와 pen feeling 디 가리 용고 요래 라비나 pen 가지 나비나 오 나기리 삼번다오지 서와 다 컴메타바리 나기리 삼번다오지 요나 테니 딜로 티게 어서나게 the most powerful 차디어리스 테인디 다 계시 루트 나기 요나 테니 나차 특점지 효칭 보여 말이스 다데 계시 뭐라
So we tend to think like, so when it comes to Dharma, in this case, like we say, sometimes it said the Dharma and the individual are separate and it's referring to the Dharma, like is in the teachings. But in this case, we can think of it in terms of like phenomena, Dharma being phenomena. Because if we just say, if we think like, okay, the nature, we think of the impermanence of all objects, or we think of the impermanence being in the object, but actually there's the feeling, so
저 강사를 거리스 치료
like
오브젝트 마인바
like
so
not just the object, but also the individual, like meaning the understanding or the feeling of the individual who is reflecting upon impermanence. So the mind that says, oh, all things are the nature of impermanence, it's inevitable that, I will get sick, that I will die. And that single thought is very powerful, because then when we get sick, there's acceptance, there's not resistance, but we're able to meet that experience of illness without as much suffering.
오다 티인디 같은 꾸노 체바요레스 티니고 메라하 고네가 나기레 섬나 동에 총요레스 다다 먹어내지 나비나 나 같이 나거래 나 나야라 가오면도 나 고금도 로지 유나 그 나사다 남 고금도 섬나 나기로와 티니 나사테 효치엔로거레스.
And so if there's not the understanding of impermanence, then when we get sick, then there's a lot of denial, there's a lot of resistance, and there's a feeling of, oh, somehow I've been wronged, it's unfair, why me, why am I sick, this isn't right, this isn't fair, this can't be, and so on and so forth. And actually that stress actually can cause the illness to become worse. So there's this one question in the chat here from Roman. I do also want to let you know that I can imagine others may be struggling to achieve 5 to 7 retreat days in the allotted time, as we had twice that amount of time for Precious Human Life. I would need to allocate every single weekend this month to make this happen, unless I choose to take the unpaid days off, which I cannot afford. This is unfortunately not realistic because I work full time, so my weekdays are often the only time that I can take care of important errands and appointments. Drupon's wish for us to try to do multiple retreat days at once. I can imagine that 6 weeks to accomplish these days is difficult for anyone with a job and other responsibilities. I mention all this particularly given that impermanence is still being actively taught on. I think an adjustment in the schedule might be a boon to many of us, and generally having some consistency in the amount of time we have to finish our retreat days for a given preliminary would be of great benefit. So first of all, just like I can answer one part of this, which is that you're not expected to finish your retreat on impermanence when this section on impermanence is over. You have time as we move into the next session to still do your impermanence retreat. So I don't know if that kind of helps to clarify things.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Because even though right now, even though you can do that, it like breaks from your life, so
Yeah, you can even still, well, not so la Yorwati December Bardu. La Yorwa. But so he's making an adjustment right now that there, especially given the like changes in our own schedule, that there is not a deadline. Basically whenever you can do, even if you haven't completed your retreat on Precious Human Life, for instance, you can still do it. You can also still do your, you can do the impermanence retreat as you have availability and time. There's no deadline. And also you don't have to do all of the days at once. He's actually said you can break the retreat into smaller sections. So you can do 1 day at a time. You can do 2 days at a time. You can do 3 days at a time. You can do it all at once if that works. And if not, you can break it up.
6 more also these 5 days, right?
And it's also not 6 days. It's actually 5 days, because when we do the in-person retreat, that's 2 days. So then it's just 5 days on your own. They can be broken up into smaller retreats. Does that address everything in this question? Is there anything else that?
Yin and Yang da. As much as possible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is Donna. Hello,
Hi, Donna.
Jemima. I think to add to Roman's question, maybe now is a good time to discuss potentially rescheduling the karma cause and effect 2-day retreat.
가디 책이라 그래.
Re-
들으니까 impermanent 자동 차차로 와. 되는 것도 다 working on checking stay. 렌레트 마마.
Reyene yang de someday agi yang de duzu tes de kaka zogo gerwa. So de chichina labna ya boyo sare.
hinta 다던 것도 디 소차로 와 디 impermanent. someday.
Someday at la zoyo marawa. Mazo ni mani someday go gerwa.
Really. 디 소차요 말해.
Zotayo mare.
Okay, that came up with. Yeah, that is good, but I think I don't have the answer tonight. So we time, so yes, we maybe next week, so then we can discuss.
We're thinking tentatively, so Drupon Rinpoche's schedule is still not set in stone, but we are, can you mention the dates? Do you happen to have what I sent you, Donna, as what we were thinking tentatively? Do you happen to have that on you?
I'll upload it to the chat.
Yeah, okay, thank
Right,
you.
also we are just, don't have time, any time, and so we opportunity, to spare your time in the teachings, translations. So morning to
Night,
night,
just
so
finished.
just finished. So now I have
Some
take a bit
time.
time, so.
But essentially, I think we were thinking of replacing the karma cause and effect retreat. Is that right? With impermanence, and then actually maybe following with karma cause and effect retreat pretty shortly after that, like maybe after the winter teachings, shortly after the winter teachings. But even though those retreats of 2 days will happen, it still doesn't need to affect when you need to do your personal days of retreat. Basically, so what Drupon was just trying to say, because he said it first in English, I mean in Tibetan, was that, even though now he's kind of opening it up and saying you can do your personal days of retreat whenever you have time and ability to do them. You don't have to stick to a certain schedule, but it's really important to have some sense of dedication and urgency in it, and not just like put it off so that it doesn't end up happening.
That's good. Okay, that is all.
I have another question. For example, in my case, for the previous retreat of Precious Human Life, I can dedicate 4 or 5 hours continuously in one session in this specific time or retreat. But the problem arises when some other activities arise. And my specific question or 2 questions are, what is the minimum time for a retreat session? And the second one is what is the maximum time that should pass between one session or another? Thank you.
Carlos.
The tune rede la tune show gande che go gare or gande che cho gare
Tune
show dini yang de tune rede barla yang de pena dutsu ring show gare yore
Re tatsu karsena ti ngazo sem kitene understanding chiarawa karsena sem kitene jik nyamdo ji jearawa ti di tu nala tini ta jik kari gom tu buyo kasi chi tu buyo na tini tayaris inje mite rule yo maris.
So there's not a specific rule, regarding like the time of the sessions, like what is the shortest?
No session, within session la image.
Oh, within the session. He's talking about session.
Or tun really la ta kazang ti yorwa used to ngazo ndawina chuzu hienda wo chi yore temina ta ko ji chuzu som chi go yore tun really la
chuzu sum ngazo chuzu ni la yorwa tun really la
ta chuzu ni la te
yeah.
ta yeta
So
mandi ma de
speaking, the shortest is 2-hour sessions. But he said usually they do 3 or 4 hour sessions. What we have written is for 2-hour sessions, but he said, there isn't like a specific rule, but the important thing is that you give yourself enough time to generate some real feeling and inner experience.
And na yita zo che hyo di yang maybe don't make this difficulty ro wa chance this kalika bo so ya maris ta becha de la mombo do kandi chi ko na zo che hyo di ji ju la meta ba ri som ba ji
Mhm.
And
you also don't have to make it too complicated or difficult for yourself, like especially, when you're, for instance, if you're like, oh, there's this much text and how much do I do in this part of either here in this part and how much do I do in that part? The main thing is like, you're reflecting on impermanence. So if you're having this sort of inner meditation and experience on the reflection of impermanence, and that's what we're going for. Otherwise we don't have to get too hung up on the details.
Right. Benatera. Coaching familiar chasona. Didn't then do China gom and digores, Benatagador. The jibo gom din and digores. Then do Benatantino sense the jibot in it, the reason the hig rays, somebody, the jibono, and a pair what and the which the jibomo some malon and digres. Okay, so this one, right? Line. What did you boil on and digres, nichas some malon and digres? The Hakoguna?
So like for instance, I think he's saying, you could read, like, for instance, in this section here, we will definitely die. And then you have the first one that says, there is no one in the past who's not died. Because there's no one in the past who has not died, we will definitely die. And then you can read everything here. Is that what
I said? If you understand it, no need to read everything.
Oh, okay. If you
You just
understand, there's
only
no need to read everything. You can just read the line.
Yeah.
And meditate.
Didn't Hamagona, the Tonda Karlagona Hamagona, that the more some
And if not, then, it's better to read it through. So you kind of can adjust your reading and meditation according to what is beneficial for you. But the sessions themselves are 2 hours a session usually.
Right.
That's the shortest. And yours usually like 2 hours.
Right. So
between
within the session, then
but you can break it up inside the session. You can break up the contemplations and reading, and it doesn't really matter how you structure that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I know that you've built 2-hour breaks in between. I don't know if that's necessary. For me, that just provides more distraction. Definitely for me, I've been doing half hour, maybe an hour the most. And if that's acceptable for some people who have limited time, that might be of benefit to realize it doesn't have to be 2 hours.
The tune gibarla nganso tenda teche yorwa tune rede la chutsu ni teni yang de tune rede gibarla yang chutsu break chutsu ni yorwa ni mo yena teni de le kale kapo yorwa gain sena chutsu trola dawore teni mo yena de pena yang chutsu che yang na chutsu cheka.
Well, that need to check out Chilamna, that Japan Terra. That is some tea could is to Gumiaji or that the Chinan Tigris. In a thing, Zana Koji, Chusu Tendo and Dogrua, person Houston, Chusu Gino Chinan Dignitati, Gumiaji or Tsekitela, thank you to come to Laura Carmanga Chinan Digore, Chusu Cheka Chinan Digore. Yes.
De Lagumundo Penatun Chutsu G Tunji Roa. Dene tun dangbo chutsu ni dene barsang chutsu ni roa shoge kalazaya. Dene tun niba chutsu ni dene de barla chutsu ni barsang cheya. Dene barsang de te seringda re lagiore. So dene?
This man down the day what is man.
So I think what he's saying actually is that then you can lengthen your meditation time. You can make it 3-hour sessions or 4-hour sessions, and then you can have less time in between sessions.
But also the sessions, I said, like whatever time, not okay.
So he's really wanting people to understand that there's this session, but then inside the session it's like broken up into other sessions, meaning reading, reflection, meditation for like 10-15 minutes, however long, And then you can like read another section and then meditate and reflect and, for however long. So you're creating a structure within your session also of 2 hours or 3 hours. But yeah, you don't have to take a 2-hour break for sure.
Better. Okay, so now maybe dedication.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I have to stop the screen share and then Soldi, maybe you can share the dedication prayers. By the virtues collected in the 3 times, by myself and all beings and samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Dragompa Radha Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher.
Hey, thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Drupon,
Thank
Virginia.
you.
Thank you
Have a
so
good day, everyone.
Okay.
Did the big cycle of teachings complete?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's
Oh, Giralagoro.
yeah.
Yes, complete.
Wow.
Did with a big POA, a huge there were how many people? Like
20,000.
20,000?
Mm.
Like people came from all over. It was I think they said maybe the largest Buddhist event in Nepal since.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, it was amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sending the photos. It was just so wonderful to just know that you were there and to get a little window into what was unfolding. It was just so precious.
Thank you. Yeah, you were all there with us.
Right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
what happens now? Hello, hello, hello. So it's going in. I don't know if we can hear on that or not.
This one, right?
So I don't know if it's this one or if it's this one or both.
Oh, hello, hello. So I just turn on the mop.
Turn the master up. All you're doing is you're
It's
circulating everything.
yes, yes.
And that's not, so I can't hear anything right now. If I turn it up, don't blow on it like that, please.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
It hurts my hearing.
I'm bad. Sorry.
So it's feedbacking right now.
Hello,
because
hello.
something is able to hear it come out of the TV and go into the computer. And that's where the problem is. So if I turn the master up, right? I don't,
Hello,
I guess that helps some, right? But
hello.
it's causing feedback. So
That's
try
right.
talking into it now, see what happens.
Hello. Can you hear
I
me?
can hear it in the microphone, but it's like a delay.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello. So I have a question for
So
you.
turn the audio off Zoom. Talk again.
It can't be off.
I can hear you. Turn it off though, just so I can see what changes.
It's not turning off.
All right, so nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Nothing's going on wrong.
Hello, hello. Drupon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's like this feedback delay.
Delay is there, I guess. Because it's also differs about the network situation and also like in the Zoom, if there are like many people like having it together and if someone asks question, there is a bit of delay.
There's always going to be some
Yeah, some delay, but if your network is good, then it goes well.
But the
Yeah,
question is what's coming out of the TVs, right?
you can hear from inside too. Hello, Drupon, Mr. Druponla.
I can hear you in the microphone.
You can, yeah. So if you can hear in the microphone, that means like you can hear this in Zoom.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the only way I hear it is if I turn the master up. Talk again.
Hello.
Nothing.
Hello.
Turn it up.
Hello.
Now I can hear
Hello.
you.
I
So
can
the
also
red one-
hear myself outside too, little bit.
Yeah, see, that's what we have to fix, the room part.
Let me see.
So I'm thinking that there's got to be something that we're not setting right that's allowing something other than the microphone in, right? All we want is the microphone to go in, and then the people on the TV here in this room have to hear both. So maybe that's what the problem is.
Hello? Hello?
Say something.
Hello?
Yeah, so if I turn the master up, I can hear
Hello?
you, but if I turn
Hello?
it down, nothing.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
I hear you.
Play user interface on. Play feedback when volume is changed. Play sound on startup. And there is this one thing. Show sound in menu bar. I think that's when active. Yeah. Oh, I think he also told something like to avoid this. Can you turn down the TV remote to the mute it? Mute it.
Let me try that.
Yeah. Did you mute? Yeah. Now we can try speaking once again. So if somebody asks question, we can just mute the TV and let.
Can we hear what's said from outside the TV? Because the person here asking the question needs to hear what Virginia says, right?
Uh-huh.
So I can hear you asking the question. So
You
that's
can
what
hear
I
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So that's good because I can't hear myself outside.
So that means that if Virginia's talking, can we get everything from the TV? No.
So if somebody is asking question, we have to mute the Bravia TV, and if we finish the TV, we can just
They ask
press.
the question, we mute it. When they're done talking, then we turn it back on again.
Turn it back again because I also think he mentioned this thing during that time.
That's right.
There's
I remember
several
that,
points he
said
mentioned.
that we just have to go back and forth.
Yes, yes. And did master thing, I think it's nothing.
Doesn't matter.
It will cause more feedbacks.
That's
He
right.
said.
So I have it turned
Yes.
down though.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So if I have it turned down, can I hear you though?
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
I hear nothing.
Hello. You hear nothing?
Zero.
Hello.
Now I hear you.
Hello.
So the problem is the master comes out here.
Yeah.
So
I think that's big.
let me try one thing on this computer. Let me go to the settings on this one,
Oh, my bad.
right? See if this little computer is part of the problem.
So if you on master, this mic is also on.
Okay, so I got all those microphones down. Now what happens? Try talking.
Hello.
So which one is again?
Hello. Hello.
So that's the TV though, right?
TV, did you mute it or like it's still on the speaker? It's mute. So can I speak? Hello.
So what's coming out of the master? So what other mic? Is there that little microphone on over there?
Yes.
If it is, that's what's going on.
This one?
Is that on or off?
That's off.
Okay, leave it off.
You have to leave it off, right?
Off, yeah. We're trying to figure out where the
Hello.
sound is coming through. Which microphone is getting it? Is that microphone on over there?
Mm-hmm.
So let's turn the input volume down and then see if we can master if it works or not.
Input volume.
Lower.
This one?
Lower.
It's lowest.
It's already down.
It's already at the lowest.
I'm sorry, I can't hear it.
Beverly, we're fixing this technical.
Yeah, so if you need to talk, we're in the middle of something. Okay, try again.
Hello.
Okay, so I can hear you in that mic in here. Can we hear outside?
Hello. I do.
Keep talking.
Hello. So you can hear some from the top.
You do hear it?
Yeah, a little bit.
So if I turn the master down,
Hello?
then there's nothing here. So we need to master the question though. Let me try something on this computer and see if this does something.
What about this? Hello?
Hold on.
Oh, so output volume goes down if you're muting the speaker.
I'm trying to see if maybe there's something.
Hello? Hello?
Where the sound is in the controls.
Hello? So I was choosing output USB audio. It was Bravia.
See where it says something on this Drupon. All right, so let me try something here. Input. It says USB. So on this computer, it's also saying USB. So what happens if I change this one?
I choose it too.
No, if that one's active, because that's what it's plugged into, that's one thing, but let me try this and see what happens. Okay, so try now.
Hello?
I hear you in here.
One more. Hello?
But outside.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Is it coming out of the TV?
Hello? It's coming on the ceiling.
You sure it's coming out?
Yes. Hello? Hello?
So all the microphones are down. Oh, wait a minute. Try now.
Hello? Hello?
It's gone now. Here's why. Let me show you.
It's going? Can you hear it? Hello?
You can come over here and talk. So
Oh, hello.
now. Talk.
Hello? Hello? Oh, it's because of this thing, you know, like.
Computer audio, I think. So, speak.
Hello? Hello? Drupon, I have a question. Hello? Hello?
I think I can hear it in here.
I can also hear it from some. Hello?
Well, it would have to because you're talking and it would come through the TV, right? But it's not coming above, right?
Hello?
Or is it?
Hello? 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 No, it's not coming.
Yeah, I turned the computer audio off, so
Hello? Hello?
nothing here. Try again one more time.
Hello? 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 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Try again.
Hello? 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 Oh, so I think it's because like
I honestly am confused.
you don't have to speak too close. Like if you speak
Yeah,
too
no,
close, you
no.
can hear. Hello? Hello? Oh, now you can hear it. Did you pull down the computer?
So,
Hello? 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 Yeah. So we have
that's the computer audio. I'll be honest, I'm totally confused. I don't know what to do.
so the computer audio is up. So if we speak like this,
The computer audio is now up.
hello. So here you can hear the echo, right? So if we just keep it like here, hello, hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Nothing in this one.
Hello, hello.
Now I can hear.
That's confusing. Because normally I used to wear this on weekdays, Tuesday, Thursday, during the practice when
So that's different
Nirdung
because
does
everything
chanting.
is going through those microphones and coming out this speaker, and then it comes through this one. What's different is that we're not using these speakers. We're using the TV. And we're just like every Zoom person. I think part of the problem is that everybody is drongnor instead of individual. I think that I've said a couple of times, they need to have their own, because we're drongnor, that's drongnor, Virginia's
Right.
drongnor. That's got to be a mess. That's got to be confusing things. They need to come in under Virginia or get their separate something.
Professionally.
We need to get them to do that one. And we probably need to log in this computer and this computer different. So we need to come in, and everybody can be a co-host, but when everybody's got the same name as like the host,
It's confusing, right?
it's got to be
That's
messing
true.
it up.
Co-host is a different thing, but same name is.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest problem is that
Like
people can't be
groups.
bothered to get a new name and start because there's no planning going on.
I think it goes well when he was.
Nah, it was a
Questioning.
mess. He was talking and he had to listen to it stop, and then he'd say another word, and then it would echo. It was not good in here. Now I don't know what they heard on their side, but I don't know. I'm kind of a little frustrated at this point. I don't know what to do, and we can't keep doing the same mess. So I
So
don't
the
know
only
if you
thing
can
is,
figure it out or not. I don't know.
I'll try. So only thing is on the question and answer time, right?
Right.
When they were asking.
Yeah, that's the problem.
We just
the rest
need
of the
like.
time is good because we're just listening. We're
Right.
listening to the TV from Nepal. When they're here, it'll be easy. It'll be just like Tuesday and Thursday. Then there's zero problems. And then we just turn up the microphone that we want people to ask questions, and that everything works smooth. The problem is that they're the ones that are kind of like the host in Nepal, and yet everybody has the same name. I think that's a big problem, is my guess. So we need to have it here as drongnor because this is how we control the recordings
That's
and send them out. So they're the ones who need to get a new name or log in under Virginia's name. So maybe that's what we need to have happen next time. And the problem is that they don't really answer much because I mean they're going to bed now.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah,
In
really
Nepal.
late.
So I hope it goes well next Sunday.
We
We'll
got to
try.
figure it out. You know, there's got to be a way
And
of doing this. And
if I
maybe
can-
you're-
if
maybe
I can-
you're right. The mute unmute might be the key. Temporary till they get back, but we gotta figure out a way. I mean, these are good tools. you know.
Yes. Is it okay? Like on Tuesday, when I come to practice handling, I try
Sure.
turning this on, ask the
I think it's
participant
a
like,
good idea.
if it's just to try in case.
Yeah, because Tuesday or Thursday, those are just regular
Simple
practice
practice.
days. I mean, Yes.
But we have to still know him. Like,
We gotta
if
figure this one
if
out, and
they
the
can
time to
hear.
do this not when Drupon's on.
Now I should end the Zoom.
Yeah, let's send everything. Hopefully we didn't record everything.
It was not recorded, but there's still some people in the here. Here has Javier.
Yeah, that's just